Hi everybody, all my followers, be welcome to another video. Right, the video today, carry on working on this Unimog 435, the 1300L. I'm gonna watch the other videos. I'll put a link in the description below for initial problem, where the lights were always on, or some of the lights, and the ignition was also always on. An absolutely mess that was done into this. But it looks like the mess that was done was not actually related to this problem, unless this has been done wrong as well. I haven't got that far yet. Anyway, Unimog 435, as I was saying. So this Unimog had a second fuel tank installed. So this is the original fuel tank, as far as I'm aware, on the right hand side. And this thing just had another fuel tank installed on this side. So it does have, you're not going to be able to see it from here, kind of can. I already traced a little bit. So this has two switchover valves. One, so here they are, from ASCO. Okay, that's the ones. Not from ASCO, that's actually solenoid. Anyway, so that's the switchover valves. There's one there, and then there's one further down. And what they do is, there's two, because one is for the pickup, the other one is for the return of the fuel from the engine. So when you have the valves de-energized, they switch over to this tank, which means the truck will pull the fuel from this tank, and then the return goes through another switchover valve, which returns the fuel into the same tank. When you energize the button, which I'll show in a second, so when you energize the valves, they switch over both of them, which means the fuel will start to be picked up from the other tank, and the return from the engine will also go into the other tank. So far so good, no problem. That's actually working correctly. The problem is the level of the tanks. So the idea of this, as far as I'm aware, this is just a resistor, a variable resistor. I'll show you in a second, according to what I have been told. It might be that we find something completely different. So the idea would be to use the same button to switch over between this fuel level sensor or the other fuel level sensor. So when you switch the tanks, the level shown on the actually gauge would be from the tank you have selected. So far so good, no problems, nice and easy. Let's go and have a look what has been done so far, which the theory looks like is okay. So I pulled the button out. The button was actually broken, this little tab. Someone put a piece of metal right here at the top to kind of hold this in place. We'll find something else a little bit better, because these were just hanging off. Anyway, so the way this is done is, this red wire is taking power, this thick red wire is taking power from here at the back. Okay, I don't know why. If I would have done this, I would use, there's some spare trip switch on these both sides. If I was me installing this, I would have used a empty trip switch, just in case if something would go wrong. Anyway, that's how it's done. That's how it's done. I'm not even sure what this trip switch is for. It's connected to that one. Doesn't really matter. So power comes to here, and then this blue wire, which is actually a cable, electrical wire, which it goes into here. Is this cable here is the one that switches over the pumps. So when I do, so this just doesn't select anything, is neutral for both, but obviously because all you need for those valves is to be de-energized. So either if you have this or this, you're still on the same tank, but when you do this, you switch into the other tank. You probably can't hear from here, but I can hear the valves switching. Okay, so he's using these pins here to do that on off in there, and then I think the idea was already done, which was 3 wires. So I'm guessing this is the level sensor from one side, from one tank, and this looks to me like is the original level sensor wire that comes up to here, and then this one is the one that goes now into the plug at the back. Now I can see that because you can see there, this has been cut. So this is the blue with the black strip, as you can see right there in the back, and then goes into the back of that white plug. Okay, so this has been cut here, and the wire after this is actually, what's called this wire? No, it's black. Oh, it's the same color. Oh yes, it is. It is the same color. Okay, because as you can see, then there's a wire here that's been cut. Black with the blue with a black strip, which is being cut, which I believe was joining in that wire that they cut. So this is the wire that would come supposedly from the fuel tank. Comes all the way up to here, and as you can see, it's connected here. And this, so this would be one level sensor, that would be the other level sensor, and that would be the return into the gauge. Now the problem is, as you can see, this is always on maximum. Now I had the truck here running in case if they would have tapped or cut the wrong wire, but everything seems to be working. So actually, let me start this thing and I'll show you. So oil pressure is working fine, air reservoir pressure is working fine, temperature is just slightly starts going up. Okay, so I'm going to assume this is the temperature of the truck, because this was reading below 40, and as I had this here running, it starts to go up. So I believe this is working. As you can see, the fuel tank is always showing full. Now what the guy said to me, I keep forgetting that to turn this off, you actually pull this lever up. I keep just turning the key off and nothing happens. Right, so as you can see, so that works, but this is always showing full. Now apparently, according to the guy, when this shows empty is when there is no fuel on the tank. Now the strange thing is, so if I unplug this wire here, which is the wire, actually let me put the phone somehow so we can all see it. Hold on a second guys, let me try to do this without stop recording. It'll be easier, at least for me. So you can see the gauge in there and you can see the switch in there. Now the strange thing is, so supposedly the one in the middle is the one that goes into there, but even when I unplug this, actually I can unplug everything, all the three wires, as you can see the gauge is still showing full. So I was wondering if they taped into the wrong wire. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. The diagrams I have shows, apparently, I'm not 100% sure if this is correct, but according to this, it looks like my fuel gauge is where is that thingy? I've seen it here somewhere. I've seen it here somewhere. There we go. So but this is so bad. It's B3, which goes to there, age 30, and it looks like to me that's been 8, but I'm not 100% sure if it's 8 or 6. I'm trying to see if I can find this thing on a PDF format where I can actually zoom better, but if the PDF format is going to be like this, I'm going to struggle to find it. But anyway, what I'm going to do, and that's the best way, is actually try to go to the original fuel tank and trace the wire back to here to see if this has been taped into the correct wire, and we'll go from there. Obviously if I turn the key off, that will go off. So something is definitely happening, I'm just not sure what. Okay, so I took that cover off in there, little cover that goes on top of the other connections, and as you can see, there is definitely a brown wire, there is definitely a blue and black in there. That's going to be my fuel level sensor. Okay, as you can see, so it might be that they tapped into the correct wire, so we're going to have to do a quick measurement from here. I'm going to use my lead from here to that wire, just to make sure that's indeed the correct one. Wait, stay straight, come on, or kind of straight, I would say. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to establish if my sensor is actually good. So I'm going to measure the resistance between these two connections into the sensor. Oh, come on. Okay, so we do have about 94 ohms. Okay, so this shows me at least the sensor should be working. 94 ohms. Let me see. He brought me some paperwork. So this is a diagram for how the fuel system works. In German, I've already translated. There's no information here. That would be beneficial. But we have this. If this applies to this sensor, 94 ohms. So it would mean the tank would be about half. No, not half. What's this? Is that liters? 250. Is that liters? I don't know if it is liters. Is that liters? Hold on. Oh no, it's millimeters. Lower edge flange, top edge flange. So that's millimeters. So 94 ohms. That will say is about 170, somewhere around there. So 93.4, 171 millimeters, which I would say is probably about half a tank. If this is from full tank, from empty to full, I would say, or from full to empty, whatever. Half a tank. How much? Let me get the keys. Let's gonna look inside the tank to see roughly how much fuel we do have inside this tank. Until you need 2 hands for this. Is the tank half? Not too far out, to be fair with you. Yeah, I can see in there. Look, it's about half a tank of fuel. There it is. Okay, so you can't really see the level, but it's about half a tank. I'd say the tank is probably about here, somewhere. It's about half a tank. That's about correct. So, let's gonna make sure. But this is measuring the sensor itself. Now we need to see, because obviously that's gonna have to have something coming on that brown wire, and if the blue and black is the correct one, it's gonna have to obviously go back. So that black one, that brown one, I believe is not gonna be ground. Right, let's gonna do a couple checks. Okay, so let's gonna check what's on that brown wire. Oh, this is tight. So let me see. I'm gonna guess this plate here is gonna have ground. Let's have a look. Let's gonna go to my brown wire. And look at that, 0.5 ohms, 0.4, bingo. So that's going to be ground. So now, let's gonna check from here to the dash to see if that's actually the correct wire. Okay, so I'm connected at the end of my cable. I'm connected at the other end to the blue, why I keep saying black and blue wire. Oh, blue and black. So connect that. Oh, damn it. So that, oh no, I don't need that. Can come straight to here. And now, if my theory is correct, when I measure this wire, the wire, so when I measure down there to, so from there to this black and blue, let me see, I should have, which one is, no, this is one that goes on the dash. So this one is the one that's supposed to come from down there. And bingo, and I'm spot on into it. I'm spot on into it. Okay, so that's the correct wire. So they back probe the correct wire indeed. So now, let me see what we're gonna do next. Actually, so now if I measure this wire against ground, I should get 94 ohms or 90 odd ohms. So that's measuring correct. Do we have a bad probe here, a bad thingy here? because I can't really see anything else other than a bad gauge. Although the gauge works, but look, there's nothing connected. All the three wires are here now. Okay, all the three wires are here in my hand. So from both fuel probes and the one, which is this one, that goes back into there. And as soon as I turn the ignition on, it goes to full. So where the hell? Oh, look. Oh, it comes down. I thought it was stuck in there. So what the heck's going on? Do we have a bad... Oh man. I'll just check something else here. Right, so what do I want to check? I want to check this. Let me check something else quick. Just hold a second. Okay, so I've checked how the other sensor on this side is connected, just so I start to have a better idea of what's going on. So these two wires, as you can see, the blue wire has been connected to here. So is the wire that takes the voltage to energize the valves, and the brown wire is the one that's been connected to the sensor. Now everything is connected in there. So this is the cable. So as you can see here, so this is the cable that comes from the sensor on this tank on this side, and then there's one cable that goes to the other side. It's been tapped into here. One goes to the other side, which goes to the valves, and the other one is this one is the one that goes inside the cabin. Okay, now I'm just not sure how the hell they are taking the ground from there. I might have to unstrip that to see how they got the ground to there, because when I measure the wire that comes from this tank, this brown wire, I'm in the megaohms range. So either this has not been connected properly or something else. That's it. Even if I bypass completely this and I just connect the original tank straight into there, I still have a full tank. So at this moment, guys, start to think I might have something wrong with this. Right. So by this point, I'm sure you know exactly why is wrong with this. So it couldn't be anything else wrong. We do still have an issue with the right hand side fuel tank. As I said, it's giving me a open line for some odd reason, or on the megaohms range. So I'm not sure if the ground has not been connected. We'll have to look at that later. But first I want to put the original tank to work, and I found the issue. So I don't know if this was someone that messed it up when they were doing the connections and they put voltage into this. I don't have a clue. All I know is when I took these off just from there, so to take this off is really easy. You just disconnect the air lines and then you push this. This goes on this rubber garment. You just literally force it out and it slides off. Then to open this, you have these caps. You have three resistors here at the back. They all have this little metal cap with a nut on top. So you take them all off. Then from these two posts you take the nuts off as well. And then you have two flat screwdrivers, tiny screws. That goes somewhere here at the back. And then you have these nuts. You need, by the look of it, kind of a special tool. I just did it using extendable pliers. That holds this in place. This is a quite nice piece of technology. Look at this. So when the pressure, this is really interesting. So when the pressure, so these chambers here, so it was for one needle, this is for another needle. When the pressure gets through inside these, let me just show you. Anyone that is familiar with this thing knows exactly what I'm talking about. But I just thought I will explain you, because I've always got fascinated with this kind of technology and how engineers used to come up with ways of doing things. So the way it works is obviously the pressure goes here on one and the other. I'm not sure. I think one, you have two needles. I think is one for each rear and front. I'm not, or two reservoirs. I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, so the hair, the pressure gets through here, comes here. So in this side comes here, goes on this little chamber underneath here, and comes on this bottom. Is solders here. Okay, and then this one, I guess it's got a solder on the other one at the top. It's going to be one for each side. And then when the pressure increases, basically what happens is, this is all mechanical. When the pressure increases, this sort of alpha moon chamber here is going to try to, so it's like this at the moment, and it's going to try to do this with the pressure. Literally, is what happens. And when it does this, so when it tries to, when it tries to push to straight, it pushes this little lever here. See this lever? It pushes this lever back, and this lever in turns runs that sort of lever, and it rotates the needle. It is really interesting. Anyway, this is not, there's nothing wrong with this. This is not the problem. The problem is here. So when I got this off, by the way, as I was handling it, I start to hear something rattling inside. And the first thing I've done, as I took the lights, I've checked the bulbs, and one of the bulbs did this. Okay, it was all melted, as you can see in there. So it melted this green sort of thingy. We're gonna get a new bulb, but then when I open it, these two things fell off. Okay, so I know exactly where they are from. So, and I think it's gonna be, so as you can see, each one of these needles, okay, they have, can you see right there at the back? Let me see from this side. See that coil? This coil here? I'm gonna try to put a arrow. So at the bottom of that coil, this one is already missing. It's missing? Yes, it is. So at the bottom of that coil, it's supposed to have one of these things holding it. And that one is missing, so that's one. I'm gonna show you one that still has both in place. There we go. So that one, in there, you see? This one here is the best one. And you're gonna see in there, you see that little thing at the bottom? Okay, this one is actually in quite good shape. See? There's one of these things at the bottom. But look at the fuel one. See if I show you the fuel. Look at the fuel one. It's completely burned. Look at that. So I have a feeling that this thing is gone, and that's why it's not working. Unfortunately, I don't know what we're going to be able to do. I think we'll try something. I don't know if I can dismantle these anymore, but I guess that's what we're going to have to try. Okay, and I kind of found the problem now. Let me just power this off. Power this off. Okay, so I kind of found the problem, guys, and the problem is that this instrument cluster, if you will, did not belong to this thing. And the first thing I've noticed, it kind of caught my attention straight away, but not until I went to do some research, and I actually found that you can have both of them. So let me explain you this, and any Unimog owners or specialists out there will know this. One of the things that caught my attention was this 12V and then the part number. To me, this sounds like 12 volts, and then these little labels, they fell off from these individual gauges here from the side. They were glued here on the side. There's only two, one is already missing, and they all say 12V, 12V, and then the part number. Now a little bit of a research, and I found that you can have this cluster in 12 volts or 24 volts versions. So yeah, someone installed the wrong one here, and that makes me wonder why as well, why these resistors here at the back, they were getting red hot, and you can see they are actually breaking apart. Obviously, it's an old cluster, but look, it's already breaking apart. So this is the one for the fuel gauge, But yeah, it's a little bit of a mess, and it looks like someone installed the wrong one. This is supposed to be a 12 volts version. Someone put a 24 volts version on it, and well, there is definitely 24 volts coming into this. I already measured, so yeah, I'm not sure what to do. The thing is, this was working even on 24 volts, which is quite surprising to me, but wow. Oh man, what am I gonna do with this? What am I gonna do with this? And just to confirm, I'm not seeing these wrong. So obviously this bulb, I don't know what happened here. The bulb on this side, the one that was still working, is definitely 24 volts. I can see in there. But as it says in there, 24 volts. The one that burned in there, I already took it off. I can't remember. But then I have this bulb here, which is behind this red thingy here. And let me show you what we have in there. It looks like it's gone anyway. But look in there on the marks. On focus. Where does it shows? Upside down. There it is. Can you see in there? 12 volts. 5 watts, I think. So this is obviously the original bulb from here. Oh man, what am I gonna do? Right guys, yes, I know I didn't have to remove this from here, but I wanted it, I just want to check everything properly. But look at this, how bad this is. It's completely burnt. Look at that. It still measures about 22 ohms resistance. This one is not as bad, that it starts to go as well. And these ones, surprisingly, still not too bad. Look at that. Don't know how. So obviously these little things that I've heard rattling inside the thingy, these little sort of plastic caps, is, as you can see, these one has one at the bottom. So these ones were supposed to be in there as well. It's from this bottom. They melt inside and they just fell off. Oh man, there's not a lot I can do, to be fair with you. I have a feeling that this thing is burned, is gone. What am I going to do with this? Right, spoke with the owner and ta-da! Right, you can't get these things brand new anymore, as you can probably imagine. I got hold of a company. Well, I did got hold of a company in the UK that sells only parts for Unimogs, and they trade Unimogs, etc. I gave them the chassis number, and they said we do have a used one, the correct one, for that thingy. And as you can see in there, look at that, 24 volts, blah 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 blah. There we go. Look at that, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And as you can see, this one is slightly different. As you can see, this one doesn't have this light at the top, a warning light, you see. But this is the correct one according to the VIN number, or the chassis number. This is the correct one for this thing. So we're gonna put it in and see what happens, and hopefully we'll have a fix. Well, at least for one of the fuel tanks, because there's something else I've already seen. But we'll carry on digging into this as we fix this. Okay, so this is back in place. Everything is done, and at the moment I'm linking the fuel level from that side, from the original tank, into the signal that goes in there. And that's going to turn the ignition on, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that needle should move. Right, are you with me? Oh, beautiful. Look at that. Spot on, absolutely spot on. Wow, so nice. So alpha tank. Now the trick here is Let me connect this the way it was, because I have a feeling, let me turn the ignition off. I have a feeling that the tank on this side, let me just, so, let's see if I still have this correct. So the black is going to have to be the one in the middle. Then we have the pink to here. No, the pink is going to be on this side. Am I right? And then the other one will be for when we switch. So if I turn the ignition on now, the fuel level should come back up. Yeah. And now when I flick to the other tank, that should go down. Goes to full, which is fine, because there is no signal coming from there. Now if I put the other wire here on this switch, which is the tank on the right hand side, let me see if that's working. No, it's not. And I knew it wasn't, because I'm getting literally, and I think I have an issue here as well. I was right to see that. No, that's correct. So obviously the fuel tank level, so if I connect now the brown wire, which is the fuel level sensor from the new tank, if I connect this into there, actually let me do the other way around, put it here. So let me see if I'm taking you through this. So this wire here is the one that connects to there. Now if I jump this into the original tank, right inside tank, we have a level. If I connect to the other one, I should also get a level, and I get nothing. Okay, now let me see first what is on the tank, unless the tank is absolutely full, which I don't think it is. Let's go and have a look. Which I'm actually being silly, because if I recall correctly, I've showed you already that this fuel sensor was giving a reading on the range of megaohms. Did I say that or mention that? Can't remember now. Oh, these are sad. Whoa! It's actually a full tank. You can't really see the level. The tank is pretty much full, to be honest. That's good. But what I'm going to do is, I don't think we have a level. Damn it. I wish this tank was about half, but the tank is pretty much full. The fuel is right here at the top. Right. Let me think. Okay, and just to prove my theory, I've lifted the probe, and so which means my level should have dropped, because obviously it's reading higher now. So that's still the same. So definitely that side is not working. So I knew you wouldn't, because was, as I said, was giving in the megaohms range, and that's a no-no. So we're gonna have to figure out why it's doing that and try to fix it. Okay, so let me show you what I found, and I'm a little bit confused right now. So I went to this connection here. Let me see if I get this right. If I can take you through this. Oh man. Okay, light is crap, but I'll try to explain. This cable comes from the sensor in the tank. This cable here at the top is the one that brings the signal to switch over the valves on the other side. So obviously only one wire is connected, because the ground, the valves takes it from the chassis. So the wire that connects to the switch over valves, it just comes with a 24 volts through here. Obviously the one that comes from inside the cabin is going to be this one here. So these ones brings 24 volts when you switch over to the tank on this side. So it sends voltage through here. This voltage goes on the other side of the track to switch over the valves. But what I'm puzzled is, why is sending voltage into the level sensor? Does this level sensor requires 24 volts? And obviously this is the wire coming back from the sensor. Everything is just like twisted like this. That's not a very good job. We're gonna have to solder this. I'm not gonna leave these like this. Jesus, that's bad. We're gonna redo all these connections most likely, but yeah, I need to find out exactly how this valve is supposed to work, and go from there. I don't know what maker this is. This valve requires 24 volts because the other one is just a resistor on a it's just a variable resistor. This one definitely has a plus. So this is for the level sensor. There we go, 2 wires only. But this has to pick up something here. It has all the stuff. I believe there's a pipe that goes inside the cabin with 2 wires. I think this is probably for some sort of heater inside the cabin, maybe. What maker is this? There it is. Atlas 4x4. There's some in there. So 19W43. Okay, let me try to get some information. Yeah, that's some sort of heater in, heater out. Yeah, so this is to pull out for a heater probably inside the cabin on these. This is to peel the fuel. This will be the return. I guess the heater doesn't have a return. Then it has an electrical wire there. Air pressure, just have an electrical connection that comes to these little valves. It's like a pump, maybe. You can't really see anything. Yes, there we go. And then the hair, and then the 2 pickups and return, and the level sensor on the side. That's it. This requires 24 volts. Let me see what I can find about RD3 blah 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 19W43 DR02 Atlas 4x4. Let me find out. Ugh, so tight. Okay, so, and I know it's a little bit of a rant, but how can someone make these sort of connections on a vehicle like this in a place like this? It's all just wrapped up. Like this, sooner or later would fail. Could leave the guy stranded if it was relying on switch over the tanks to this side. It's, you know, this truck is used, well, that's definitely no good. So we're going to redo this, and but yeah, let me figure out what's going on. I couldn't find yet a manual for that. I didn't search too much, to be fair, but I have a couple of things I want to do before I really spend time looking for manuals and all that good stuff. And look at that. So let me see if I show you this. So the tank on the right hand side, and you have just above half a tank. Now we're going to switch over the tanks, and I want you to see. Hey, it is working. No, it's not. Let me show you what I've done. So what I've done is I've used a, can't even remember now, I think it's a 47 ohms resistor from ground to the wire that goes inside the cabin. That's it. So I'm going to do the same now at the plug, and I'm going to redo all those connections, but just to test, I'm just going to twist the wires as they did, and then I'm going to do the same test in there. If that's good, then we do know that probably is bad. Connecting, sending 24 volts through that probably damaged the level sensor. That's my only suspicion. Also had a really nice chat with my good friend Nefs. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description below. He works on HGV vehicles, and I just had a quick chat about this because obviously this is actually a quite a common level sensor on trucks, on HGV vehicles, and he confirmed to me that's the way it should work. I already knew anyway, but was just a matter of get a second opinion. So yeah, looks like that sensor is bad. Okay, and just one last test before I 100%, well, there's no really doubts that the sensor is bad, but obviously I'm back probing the 2 wires that comes from the level sensor. As you can see, we have 83 megaohms, and just to be 100% sure that that's the reading coming from the sensor, I'm going to unplug the sensor like so, and as you can see we have an open line. I'm going to plug it back in. There we go. And and obviously moving the tank up and down doesn't really make a difference. So yeah, I'm guessing connecting 24 volts to the sensor was a very bad idea. Oh well, let's the owner know about the other news on top of the cluster. Who's done this? I don't know. There we go, all done. I can see in there. So, there you go, all shrinked. Each connection individually, and then this one on the outside. That looks much more professional. And again, now it's just the level sensor. Just to check the integrity, I put the resistor right there at the back on the plug. And as you can also see from there, so that's the right hand side tank, the other tank for that resistor. That's it, guys. So let's wait for the tank, for the sensor, and then hopefully wrap up this video. Right, guys, and unfortunately we're not gonna see the end of this. Just rang the guy. I told him about the probe, about the sensor. He's gonna get another one, but unfortunately, as I've showed you, the tank is absolutely full, and the probe doesn't have a room to come out. So I can pull it all the way up to here in an angle, but it's not enough to pull this out. So even if he brings me the probe, I would have to drain the tank. But the guy is happy now to take it like this and to finish it off at home. He said he's going to take it home. There's a drain plug in there, as you can see. So he said he's going to drain the tank, drop it, take that out, and get a new sensor for that. Obviously, I've warned him about getting the correct probe with the correct resistance range. He's going to ring these guys that I already mentioned, that sells parts for Unimogs. He reckons they will know exactly what he needs. And obviously needs the connections for the heater inside the cabin as well, and all that good stuff. Anyway, we're gonna wrap up this because I still need to clean this, because the guy's gonna come in about 45 minutes to collect this. In the meantime, a couple of things I would like to just talk about it. One is I completely missed on the first video because I really didn't know. I even left the question why two switches for the lights. In the meantime, I find out why. Excuse me. So the switch at the top, if you remember, or maybe not from this video, but there's a switch here at the top. This switch is actually the lights switch, so it only has like two positions, which is side lights and then low beams, and then the high beams works from here. And then this switch is a military spec switch, which is for blackout lights, and basically all these different positions here is for things like turn infrared lights and turn off the rear tail lights, and then some other modes to turn interior lights, which some of it still works because I left it. But yeah, so that's why it does. The reason why I left this switch for the lights and not that one is because it doesn't have the knob for the top one. The knob is missing, and I actually think the switch is broken at the end as well. So even if it gets the knob, it wouldn't fix to the actual switch. Anyway, so what decision was made, all in agreement with him, that we would leave that one behind. So that one is taped in insulation tape, completely out of the way, tucked on the side, so he's not going to make any mess. And we use these ones for the lights. And as I would like to actually show you, so we have the lights here. So where it says tag, which should be daylights, is actually all the lights off. Then you have side lights, low beams, and then the high beams is here. And then if you actually move this to 0, what it does is, so you need to flick this to that side to use 0, S1, S2, S3. S2, S3, S2, and S1, I think they are not even connected. But when you go to 0, it actually turns all the interior lights off. So if I go to 0, he's going to turn that one off, and he's going to turn that one off. All the other lights goes off. You see? There we go. So everything goes off. But all he needs is here on the tag, then on, off. That's it. all in agreement with him. He was more than happy, and I think it's actually quite nice finish like that. Got rid of that switch. Anyway, as for the issue for what this video actually is about, as you have seen, guys, in the end, wrong cluster installed on this. I had 12 volts rather than the 24, completely burned, and someone connected the sensor, the tank level sensor, to 24 volts rather than to ground. Jesus, whoever's been working on this, it didn't have a clue what they were doing. Anyway, we got it all fixed, and I was just literally having the truck running. I'm gonna start it up again because I want to see that one working, because I haven't seen that one working yet. So I want to see it working. So we're gonna start it up again. I don't know if you need to press. There you go. So I just want to see that one going up, but I can start to see it moving a little bit because it was below 40, it's now going up, so I guess so it's going to be working fine. And that's it for this video, guys. So with no further ado, I really hope you enjoyed this video, something completely different. Hope you enjoyed it. If you do still have any questions, any comments, guys, please put them below. And like always, thank you for watching.